This is Rip the Fence.
Call me Big Daddy.
Presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Time for yeah, you damn right I got time.
What happened out there?
Also brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Welcome to episode 91 of Rip the Fence, another quarantined version here from our houses and our workplaces and our dining rooms. We're now joined on the line by Zeb Wise. What's up, Zebby? How you doing?
I'm good. Just taking a little time off work here in my dad's office so I can do the interview with you guys. Thanks for having me.
So I joined late here, and I heard you guys, I think, talking about that. So what exactly are you doing during your work days?
Well, these last couple of weeks, since I'm not making any money racing, I decided to go to my dad's shop, Complete Collision, here in Angola, and help out just kind of with little stuff, anything I know how to do, which for a race car driver, I don't really know much. So nuts and bolts, just kind of do whatever I can do. We put some bumpers on some semis today. And actually, most of the time I've been here, I've been working on a race trailer for one of my sponsors, Pro Cup, on my sprint car. So it's been pretty cool working on that.
Wow. You're doing a lot more hands-on work than I'm doing.
I'm not very used to it.
You work on the cars, though, and such, don't you?
I'm a cleaner. I don't really I can work a wrench, probably a little embarrassing to watch, but I can do it. It's just not very pretty.
Looking like a true racer.
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us about the virtual Chili Bowl. We had Days and Pursley on last week, and you led the majority of it, but what happened?
Yeah, Cannon had been working the slider line in 1 and 2, and I knew we were close, and I knew one mistake from me was going to cost all of it. And I think he drove it in there harder than he had. And I tapped the wall a little more than I had. Well, that was the first time I really tapped the wall much at 1 and 2. And both of those things combined kind of brought us into a wreck. I mean, I was so fast. I don't know. I mean, I was horrible at that setup every practice race I ran before. And then apparently something clicked. I didn't even want to run second in my heat race. And then Bell was like, oh, they invert 6. And I was like, oh, crap, I'm on the pole. And then the nerves kicked in because I thought I was starting 6th. And now I'm on the pole. And I really didn't expect to lead much of it. And then, of course, with 3 laps to go, I ended up putting in the fence.
I asked Days in this too because, I was terrible. So what do you think about the midgets specifically at that track, like how they compare to the real thing?
I think if you can get the setup right, it's not too far off. I feel like the track seems really small on there and really narrow compared to what it's like in real life. Like obviously Chili Bowl's small and narrow, but it's not near that narrow.
Yeah.
But I mean, in my opinion, I think if you can get the setup pretty close and get the car feel, as close as you can get it, I don't think it's real far off. I wish the top would come in a little more on the game, but it's pretty fun.
How many hours a day do you average on that thing?
Well, it kind of depends if I'm racing that day on, like on a real race. What are you doing? It depends if I'm racing, like a race that day, then I'll get on and practice, 6 or 7 hours. But a normal day, maybe 2 or 3 hours. I don't really get on it much. I can't dedicate my time to it like some of those guys.
See, that was my problem. I practiced like an hour total and was like, oh, I'm ready. And then went out there. Well, it was terrible.
My best races, like I ran Williams Grove in the midget. I ran pretty good there until the last 2 laps or whatever. I think I wrecked. But both Eldora races, I figured out that I'm better when I don't really practice, which is really weird. But when I kind of just go in and wing it, I feel like I'm better off than sitting there and concentrating for 6 hours getting ready for a race.
It's like the real thing. You only get 3 hot laps. So you better.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Do you have one of these fancy setups for your iRacing rig, or is it just a computer wheel?
That kind of started up this quarantine. I didn't have much of a setup. I kind of just, ran my wheel on my desk when quarantine started, and then of course, I was like, man, I got to have the best setup there is. And I always had a WR1 sitting there from Chad Wheeler. I had the one that was at the Racers for Autism event, the one that Brian had, or the one that had Brian on the bottom of it. So I always had that one, but I never had the wheel to fit it. And of course, when this whole deal started, I had to have that wheel and pedals. So I spent way too much money and went and bought the wheel and pedals for it, and I use a WR1 now.
That's
Do you like it?
Yeah, it took a while to get used to. The way you're sitting on there is way different than what you're sitting on at a desk, especially the wheel and pedals was completely different. My pedals are inverted, so it's like a real NASCAR pedals down there. So that was hard to get used to. The brake was different. It's more real, but it was just really weird on a simulator.
I like Ace McCarthy's. I saw a picture of his like a couple weeks ago. He's got his wheel up like this, so he actually
I want to do that.
Driving it like
I want
a
to
midget.
get that figured out.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Well, you kind of broke some news at the beginning of the year. Well, first off, you ran the Chili Bowl with Keith, left Clauson Marshall Racing, and then decided that you were going to go full-time wing sprint car racing. What all went into that decision?
Well, Sam McGhee had always kind of joked around like, hey, I want you to run my sprint car sometime. And, things just really never worked out for me to actually be able to run it. They were always busy, points battle with Dale or Ryan Smith or any of those guys. So when them and Dale split up, that kind of opened the door for, a new driver. And I honestly think the BC 39, when I won that last year, that was kind of a spark of interest for Sam and Mike and everyone there. And I think Sam talked Mike into it, having a young kid drive the sprint car. And that's how that whole deal came together. And as far as Keith goes, me and Keith have been talking really my whole midget career, just kind of back and forth on when we might be able to make something work out. And then, when I made the decision to go wing racing, that kind of opened my door to, run midgets part-time, any races I could get to. And, I got an offer with Keith and an opportunity, and I took it. So it wasn't anything bad with Clauson Marshall Racing. I still have respect for them, and I hope they do for me. Obviously they got me some of my biggest accomplishments in my career, and I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys today if it wasn't for them. So, that will never be forgotten at all.
I know you've accomplished obviously a lot in, a short amount of time, but I know that there's still more stuff that you wanted to do in the midgets. So why the decision now to go wing racing?
At such a young age, you don't really get that opportunity very often. They came to me and offered, as long as I brought some sponsorship aboard, and we did, to go full-time sprint car racing on the All-Star Tour. And I didn't want to pass that offer up because that doesn't come every day, and that's very rare. And at the time, I didn't have a full-time midget ride for next year. I'm sure we could have put something together, but I didn't have anything guaranteed. So, that was kind of my decision factor. Obviously, I really want a midget championship. That would be really cool to me. And that's something I love midgets. They're probably, besides sprint cars, they're my favorite car to drive. So one day, if I can get back on the full USAC Midget Tour, I would love to go try to grab a championship.
How many midget races will you get this year?
Well, I ran Bubba Raceway Park. Technically, I'm still in the points. But I ran Bubba Raceway Park, and so that's 2 there. And my plan is to run hopefully some of Midget Week. It kind of just depends on when stuff gets scheduled right now because of what's going on. BC 39, I'm going to run for sure, hopefully. And then I'm going to run all out west, Arizona, California, Chili Bowl. I don't know if we'll go to New Zealand this year, obviously, because of what's going on. But I could possibly run Port City. I think it's next weekend or something like that. I could possibly run that if I don't get invited to Peevely and Lake of the Ozarks with the Outlaws. So it just kind of depends on what happens.
What's it like working with Sam? A lot of people are familiar with him, but there's a lot of people probably that aren't. He's a kid. He's close to your age.
Yeah, 20 or 19.
Yeah. So what's it like for you kind of, making your transition to wing racing and having somebody like Sam who, is close to you in age and, relatable in that sense?
Yeah, it has helped. I feel like it's a little easier than going in there with someone that's been, a crew chief for 20 years or 30 years that isn't going to want to deal with my mistakes. But no, it has been helpful. And another thing that helped is another guy that's on the team. His name's Derek Miller. He worked for Boffman-Wrightsville when I ran their sprint car a few times last year. So the transition has been really easy with that team, and Mike and Sam and Derek and everyone's been really, really easygoing and understanding, that we're learning. And, it's not just me that's learning. Derek's learning too. Him and Sam are kind of co-crew chiefing the car, and it helps when we can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. It's pretty cool, and it works out really well.
So have the All-Stars released when they're coming back?
I haven't heard anything for sure yet. I think they're trying to put races together, at any track they can. I don't know any for sure dates. I know they were trying to go back to Port Royal, but that's not going to happen now. So I don't know any dates on the All-Star Tour.
Is it extra frustrating for you? I mean, like going into this year, I'm sure you were excited and, gung-ho to get things going and get some more laps in the wing car. And it's like, now you just got to sit and you got to wait more. Like, it's obviously always going to be frustrating, but given your situation of so much newness that was coming this year, I would imagine it's probably made it a little tougher.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be different if I had ran sprint cars for the past 4 years and we went in this year and dang it, missed a few races, but this is my first year and I was excited to get going. And of course, with my luck, it didn't work out. But we're hopefully getting back in the swing of things. We just ran last weekend in Missouri, ran fourth. We were really fast all night, just, learning. We ran into a pretty rough track, and that was my first time experiencing one of those in a sprint car. So it's those kind of things that, help. It was a rough little quarter mile, and it was fun. It was cowboy up, but it wasn't something that I was used to. So I had to, learn, and made a lot of speed and ground up throughout the night. Was it different than driving a rough track in a midget? Yes, way different, because in a midget, I am scared on a rough track. I do not like rough tracks. I hate it. And that's probably my least favorite track surface by far. I usually just go down and putt the bottom if I'm involved in a rough track. But the sprint car, you can drive it a lot harder. And honestly, the harder you drive it, the better it feels on a rough track, which is, in my opinion, the opposite of a midget. Because you got to slow down a lot. I think we all saw that at Ventura last year. So it's not near as, in my opinion, it's not as technical in a wing sprint car on a rough track as it is in a midget. And you don't feel like you're going to flip over every lap, which is nice. Yeah, that always helps.
What'd you make of Dylan's last place effort in the virtual Chili Bowl?
I didn't even
you didn't even see him, I know.
I don't know. Did we ever lap you? I don't remember it.
Thank God. That became my goal very quickly when I qualified like third to last. I was like, I'm starting last in my heat race. I just don't want to get lapped. So. I wasn't even paying attention, dude. I was so zoned in on the screen. I mean, my eyes hurt after this because I was freaking out. I was sweating. I mean, I don't get that nervous in a real car when I'm leading a real race, and I was freaking out when I was leading that deal. So I ran a truck race in North Wilkesboro a couple nights ago and was leading and had like a bunch of green, white checkers I had to survive. And it's the same thing. And we've talked about this with other guys we've had on. It's so weird how much more nervous you get on the sim compared to real life. And I don't know why that is, but everyone says it. Well, like I've gotten better with it, because we've ran so many races between USAC and the Outlaws and little races. But man, that first night at Kokomo and the midget and qualifying, I mean, I had run practice qualifying laps, and I was consistently fast. Like, I'm like, man, I'm going to go like fifth quick for sure, at least. And I go out there and I'm like 20th quick. And I'm like, what changed? Like, I got so nervous. It was unbelievable. I was shaking. I couldn't believe it.
You didn't even have that same feeling for your first Outlaw start?
No, I really didn't. And like my first outlook, I don't know if it's the sound of I don't get it, man. I was so nervous, and that, I mean, when I got done, my hand was shaking at Chili Bowl. When we got in that crash and I got done, I'm like looking at myself like, what is wrong with me? What am I doing?
I know. I think it's almost like when you're in the real car, you kind of have like blinders on. You have like tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And like in the sim, you can kind of look around and see other stuff or whatever. And so maybe it's like you're almost so focused in the real car that you don't even have time to get that nervous. I don't know. It's weird though.
It is weird.
It's strange.
Yeah.
So when this whole quarantine lifts, and this could be a question for both of you, but what's going to be the first place you eat?
Mine is probably going to be Acapulco, which is a local Mexican grill here. But that's where we'll be heading because we used to go there all the time before this started. So we'll probably be going right there. It's actually open now, but we've kind of held off a little bit to try to let everyone get through there before we go.
Where are you at that things are opening?
Indiana. They open stuff up. Actually this Monday. So stuff's starting to open back up. Restaurants are opening, so makes it nice.
I've got a question. Whose cars, like that old Camaro, and I think you've got a truck and stuff too. Whose car are those? Your dad's cars?
I mean, they're his, but the truck is technically mine. He kind of built it for me to drive around, and it's pretty cool. It's an old 79 F100, and then I actually drove the Camaro today. It's an old 68 Camaro with an LS2 Corvette motor. It's all tricked out. It's got Cadillac seats.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. The sound system's amazing, but it's a 68 Camaro that's like a newer Corvette, basically. It's fast.
You can lay some rubber down, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it actually has NASCAR exhaust on it, so it's loud. Really,
that's
loud.
awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm craving some Mexican food too. Some chips and quesos and some margaritas.
Tyler, would you care to share your queso theory here with Zeb?
So, typically you go to one of those restaurants and you might have some obscene restroom visits, if you will, to follow.
Okay.
So I think that if you eat the queso, which typically is usually a natural, well, scientifically proven, a natural stopper, if you will. I think if you eat the queso first, then it just kind of coats it, and then you'll be good to go.
Well, I mean, I always eat the queso and chips first, so maybe that – I mean, I don't have any visits to the restroom, so maybe that is the secret.
Tyler eats a salad and has to go to the bathroom, so I don't really know how accurate his theory is, but
it's a proven theory, no doubt.
Done the research.
I saw you tweeted that you have yet to finish a race at the Chili Bowl. So how frustrating has that become over the years?
Yeah, it is frustrating. I can't even do it in a sim race. I did win an E-main, though. I'm very proud of that. My only main win at the Chili Bowl.
We're both E-main winners. I won an E-main one time.
Yeah, you're proud of it, aren't you? It's cool.
I've got the plaque, too.
Yeah, I got the plaque and everything. But it is such a frustrating race because you go there, obviously you only get one shot at it. And it's even more frustrating for me because I'm not trying to be cocky here, but I've always been really successful at the Tulsa Shootout. And I couldn't have better luck at the shootout. I mean, I've made 11 out of 12 features, which a lot of those is luck, depending on where you draw in your heat race and all that, where you put qualifiers. So I think I must use all my luck up at that race, or already did, because, I can't get anything at the Chili Bowl. But maybe this year's my year. I don't know. We'll see.
You've only run a couple. You gotta earn your stripes at the Chili Bowl, and then
and I gotta put that in perspective too. I mean, my first year I made the B main, and I was devastated that I didn't make the A. But Kofoid was impressive this year. He put himself in the show his first year, which was pretty cool. But it is frustrating for sure going back there and having one chance at it. And then, after your prelim night, if you had a bad night, you might as well load it up. I mean, it's pretty tough to come from back of the mains. But, looking forward to this year.
No doubt. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It was fun to talk to you. Good luck the rest of the year with the sprint car, and hopefully you and Dylan get to race some midgets together. It sounds like you're going to be on the Dylan schedule.
Yeah. Dylan, are you running out west again?
I don't know what I'm doing, honestly.
You were so good out there, they need to put you back in it.
I know, everywhere but Ventura, I was just done it.
Well, that track, we don't need to count that race.
Yeah. No, I honestly don't know. Because with our work schedule and stuff, everything is so fluid right now that I don't really know what races I can commit to running and what I can't. So
right.
So I don't know. I want to try to run night before the 500 and stuff, but I don't even really know if I can run that. So we'll see.
I would love to run that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to.
Yeah.
I want to run a pavement midget so bad.
They're the best. They're so much fun.
I ran a Kenyan car, which is nothing like a pavement midget, but that was fun in itself, and that was at Speedrome. So going to IRP would be pretty cool.
Yeah. They're fun everywhere, but at IRP, you have to drive them hard. So
I remember going to IRP and watching while I was with my buddy Derek Bishak and watching Tracy Hines and Larson go at it for the win there. That was awesome.
That was a great race.
Such a good race. All right, Zebby, thanks so much for coming on. Get back to work, and it's good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Wherever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. You can count on Hercules Tires to have your back when times are tough, all while adding money to your pocket. The purchase of 4 qualifying Hercules tires through May 31st, 2020 could get you up to a $70 Visa prepaid card. Visit HerculesTire.com/spring rebate to learn more. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Zeb Wise, everyone. Talented young race car driver in the Midget Series for Keith Kunz Motorsports, but also drives for Sam McGhee Motorsports with the All-Stars. Won the BC 39 last year. Beat Larson a couple times. He's a good driver, Dylan.
He is. Yeah, he's a stud, and it's been fun to watch him, even grow and kind of mature over the last couple of years. But even, right away, I mean, like we talked about the last time we had him on, which was a while ago, but right away he was solid. He looked like a veteran out there from the get-go, and has only continued to get better with years. So bummed that he's not running more midget stuff, selfishly, just because I enjoy watching him race those cars, and he amazes me every time he runs because of how young he is still. But he's right. You gotta take those opportunities in the wing car when you get them. So he'll get that figured out too, and he'll be just as good in those.
Yeah, and I'm sure that he's was kind of disappointed to leave Clauson Marshall Racing just because of the fact that Brian found Zeb and brought him from the quarter midgets and the micros and brought him in and kind of developed him into a great race car driver. But again, like he was saying, to turn down the opportunity to go race wing sprint cars for good equipment that Sam has. Dale Blaney drove for them the past couple years and had a lot of success. So I think he's going to be one to watch out for sure in the sprint cars. And hopefully he wins the World of Outlaws race here soon too.
Yeah, Sam himself we honestly should get him on this show because he's kind of an anomaly too. He's only 19 or 20. And I remember I raced quarter midgets with his brother Max, and Sam was little, and he was always just like a dirt ball, just like covered in mud, just out there playing in the dirt with his Hot Wheels cars, and just a crazy little kid. And now to kind of see him grown up and turned into this badass sprint car crew chief, it's pretty cool. So that'll be a fun pairing. Two young guys that that want to make it happen. So it'll be fun to watch them once we get back going.
Yeah, he kind of learned his ropes from Dutcher when I was there in 2013. He was kind of racing the Kenyan cars. He was racing some at Speedrome, but also he was kind of going up and down the road with Kevin Thomas Jr. and Michael Dutcher and just kind of learning the ropes. And at 16, 17, he decided he wanted to own a sprint car team, which is kind of a ridiculous story.
Yeah. He had his own, non-wing team with Justin Grant in 2017. So yeah, I mean, he would have been 16 or 17 years old then. And I mean, they won races. They won at Knoxville, had success. So he's super smart. He knows how to set up a race car really well. And like we said, he's young. He's got a lot of years ahead of him. So he's only going to get better too.
All right. Our hat shakes of the week presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Who do we got?
I'm going to give mine to Brady Bacon because we've got midget racing coming up in a couple weeks at Port City, and the Bacon family promotes that event. They're promoting that race. Brady raced himself at Port City in the micros, and they're putting a midget race on there, and we're getting back racing. And then obviously USAC just announced today that they're kicking things back off in the middle of June with a sprint car race at Hopstadt, and then midget week. So I'm pumped. We're getting closer to kind of getting things back to a little bit of a normal lifestyle here. So, but Brady's up first, so I'm giving mine to him.
I'm going to give mine to the World Racing Group and Dirt Vision for the phenomenal effort they did in Knoxville. I came over to your house and we drank a few cold ones and watched on Dirt Vision the Knoxville race. It was a tremendous race. It was a great race. David Gravel winning for the Knoxville Nationals, he won the Knoxville Nationals last year, but won the Knoxville race. But the way they did it with having Johnny and Concord and Kevin Swindell and then Tony Bachhoven still in the booth at Knoxville with Dave Reef downstairs, doing interviews. I thought they did a tremendous job. I don't think it could have gone any better. And it was really awesome to see.
Yeah, they had a lot of eyes on him because for all intents and purposes, they were the first racing series to go back. So I think people were watching to see kind of how they handled everything, how they were doing interviews and stuff, and they had a game plan from the start. And I think it went about as well as it could, and everybody did a great job kind of adapting on the fly there and doing things how they needed to be done these days. So yeah, it was cool for sure to watch.
So the NASCAR Cup Series and the Xfinity Series are going to Darlington this week. Are you excited? You are part of the crew that is going to Darlington, Dylan Welch. Are you excited?
I am excited. I've never been to Darlington, so that's the only track I think on the NASCAR schedule that I haven't been to. So excited to check that off the list finally, and excited to be in the turn. I'm in turn 1, so have always wanted to do a cup race in the turn, so get to do that too. But to be the first one to call them at speed, when they come into turn 1 for the first time back in 2 months, is going to be a lot of fun. So Baggy called me yesterday and told me that I need to bring some goggles because I'm going to be dirty up there. So with all the marbles and everything that get kicked up. So I can't wait. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. I'm excited.
It's one of the first sports to return back to, obviously sporting events, live, television, radio. If you're going to be watching the NASCAR race this weekend, we have a campaign going on where you can tweet a picture or a video or something of your tailgate, whether you're watching it from a cool compound or your living room, or you made some awesome food, you're drinking beer, whatever you're doing. You can tweet that by using hashtag NASCAR tailgate, and maybe you can be seen on some shows this next week, or we can promote the fact that you are having a cool NASCAR tailgate. Before we go, we need to mention pristineauction.com. You can still register on there by using the promo code RIP, R-I-P, free $10 to use on the website. I've seen some people that have tweeted us saying that they are getting their free $10 and buying, whether it be Christopher Bell memorabilia, I can't say that word ever, or, buying any kind of sporting event. Sports are truly missed right now, which is I've gone crazy without sports. I mean, I've watched Brett Favre play 3 times the past couple of weeks. From 2002 or whatever, but tired of that. I want to see some live sports, and we're getting ready to do that at NASCAR this weekend. So pristineauction.com. USACNationalMidget.com. Free $10. Use the promo code RIP. All right, that does it for episode 91. Zeb Wise was good. We'll come back next week after you race at Darlington, Dylan, and we'll do 92.
I may have to do 92 from the infield at Darlington because I'll be down there for the Cup race on Wednesday. So may have to do
or
a
might
live
just,
on location.
or maybe just have to push it back to Thursday, maybe.
Yeah, we can do that too.
We'll
I'm
see.
not gonna be doing anything. I'm gonna have to get down there and go sit in my truck, so we can do it.
That's true. You can do it from your truck. I mean, this Zoom stuff, you can do it from anywhere now. So
That's great.
all right, dude. We'll talk to you later. Episode 92 in the books. We'll see you next week.